Hey y'all, it's Zinnecker, and today we are doing a home tour of a home that Adam and I built together. So I designed it, he built it. If you've been following along, you've seen some of the episodes on this. If you haven't, make sure you go back and watch, and make sure you subscribe because we will be posting more episodes of the whole journey. This was really special to me. I poured a lot into it. Adam definitely poured a lot into it. It was his first foray into GC, and I feel like we both learned a lot. I sourced all the furniture that you see here, and I would say 99% of it is either thrifted or it's antique from Round Top. So also go watch that episode if you haven't. We actually are closing on the house tomorrow. We sold it with the furniture, and so this is our last night here, and it's really bittersweet, but we are incredibly proud of this project. We stuck to our budget, we stuck to our timeline, and we created a space that someone now gets to call home. We're gonna walk you through the whole house, starting with the outside. We're here on the porch. It's on 10 acres of land. I wanted it to feel welcoming, casual, just like kind of like it's always been here in the hill country. So we did board and batten siding and painted it white, did a soft green on the doors, and yeah, just divided light windows, a big front porch. The view was incredible.
We took the land. It was totally raw when we bought it, so we put in a driveway and built out a home site. Built the house right here. We had to bring in power off the main road and run it in. We brought it to within about 100 feet of the house and then buried it underground the rest of the way. We're on a septic system, so we had to install a septic system, and then we had to drill a well. We ended up going about 700 feet deep to get water out here.
It was a bit of a well drama. Adam did the landscaping, so just very simple grass and rocks and a path around the house.
Grass and rocks.
Grass and rocks.
Lots of grass, lots of rocks.
Just easy maintenance was the goal there. So we did a Galvalume standing seam roof, and we ended up spacing the seams 11 inches. I liked it better than the standard 16 inches, purely for looks. We paid a little bit more. I think we probably wouldn't do that again.
No, not worth it, but it does look good.
It does look really good. And then we just did cedar posts, again, to kind of reflect that hill country feel. We kept it really simple footprint. We just did a big rectangle and fit all the necessary parts inside. So that's pretty much it for the outside, but let's go in and take the tour.
Let's go!
So we are starting in the kitchen because it's my favorite space, and also because we designed a very open concept with this house. We think of it as probably a secondary residence or a vacation rental. So we wanted it to feel very open, very connected, where kitchen is blending into the dining and the living room. So people can be hanging out no matter what space they're in. The spaces are all very modest. So we designed them purely for function. Didn't need a lot of wasted space here. As you can see, it's just an L-shaped kitchen with a furniture piece that I found at Round Top for the island. It's an old, I'm not sure honestly, maybe a baker's table, and then it felt a little low, so I put wheels on it to give it a little height, and it's also mobile that way, which is great. With this whole build, we were very budget conscious. So, you know, whereas I would love a lot more custom, we really tried to keep it tight. The cabinets are prefab, which is a cost savings, and they're a partial overlay, they're not a full overlay, which again is a help in the budget, right? It goes partial overlay is the most affordable, full overlay and inset. And we sourced these cabinet company, and you could kind of pick the different pieces. So I had to play around a lot with what our needs were and what we could fit in the space. They're all paint grade, so we painted them a beautiful, soft, kind of mushroomy taupe and added little brass hardware details. Again, I wanted it to feel very hill country, very warm and inviting. I wanted an apron front sink to have a nod sort of to farmhouse, New England, and we put a window in front of the kitchen sink because you can be washing dishes and still enjoying yourself by looking out at the view out there. And we did a very beautiful, very classic Carrara marble countertop. We did it honed, which you should go watch that episode that I have on countertops. That is very helpful. And we did honed, an eased edge, and a very minimal 4-inch backsplash. Again, I didn't want to add tile. It's visible to every other space, so I didn't want it to feel too kitchen. Since it's a secondary residence, or maybe a vacation rental, or maybe both, we didn't need to maximize our storage. We didn't need to do upper cabinets, so I just kept it simple with open shelving so we could have a little more decor. It didn't feel so invasive, and also, again, it didn't feel so kitchen. I wanted it to feel fun, lived in, collected, and layered with all different types of wood, and just feel like there were lots of stories in it. We did a bin hood insert, and that is, as you can see here, all it is you just buy the bin hood insert and you frame and you sheetrock around it. The living room and dining room are purely defined by the furniture that we found. So a beautiful vintage dining table and chair set, and a cozy white sofa with some vintage chairs and a wood coffee table. I mixed a lot of woods here. It's one of my favorite ways to design. I'm not too particular about if woods match at all. I think you focus on tones perhaps, but if you throw a bunch of different types of wood, and it still can feel very collected. I went for kind of like a warm oak with a bit of pine with my material mixing. And with the appliances, we didn't do a panel-ready dishwasher, we didn't do a panel-ready fridge. Again, budget was important to us, so we picked appliances that I liked aesthetically because I knew they'd be visible in the space. This is the other side of the kitchen, and again, I want everything to be beautiful. Over here we have the pantry. I found a vintage door for that, and we put glass in it, and I love it. Love a vintage door wherever I can. Again, that touch of vintage wood, that touch of antique wood makes a new build feel a little bit more timeless, a little bit more like it's always been there. So I try to add those touches as much as possible. Behind me is the cupboard. It's pine, and again, it's additional storage, but also it is just a really beautiful piece. Originally we had built-ins for there, but we couldn't afford it, and honestly I like a furniture piece better anyway. And then over here we have the washer and dryer. So practical, it's in the middle of everything, but it's tucked behind some just nice, clean, white doors. We're in the primary bedroom. There are 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms in this house. And this one has the ensuite, the other one is the hall bath. So it can be used by the bedroom or by all the guests that are here. Both rooms have really good sized closets. This bedroom has a side view, so it gets really great sunlight. It feels very private, and again, we kept the footprints really small. There's not much you need to do in a place as beautiful as this. So we just have beds, side tables, a bench. Again, everything wood. I sourced from Round Top, and then the sconces are new. The bed I found on Facebook Marketplace. I wanted it to feel very bright, very warm, very inviting, and the art piece was also an amazing Round Top find. Such a big piece for such a good price. The light fixtures in both bedrooms are sourced from Round Top as well. Again, I wanted to add an interesting textural element to the bedrooms to break away from that new build feel. All of the interior doors are new except for the bathroom doors and the pantry door. I wanted those to be vintage. So again, adding that wood element, that worn in, lived in feel as much as possible throughout the space. I picked a really warm white and wanted it to feel timeless, lived in, warm, and welcoming. In the primary bathroom, we have double vanity and a big walk-in shower. I wanted to add paneling on the walls in here, again, to just kind of layer things, make it feel less sheetrocky, less new build. I really wanted this to feel like it's been here forever, and it can be here forever. We did some beautiful antique brass sconces, and I wanted to mix metals in here, so I did a mixture of polished nickel and antique brass. I love mixing metals, and I love those two combinations. It's what I have in my own home too. I think it is super timeless, super classic. And then for the hardware in here, I did a porcelain knob, which feels very antique to me. We used the same cabinet company for this vanity because, again, they had so many options. So it's a partial overlay cabinet that we painted, and we used the same countertop in here. Again, budget. So we reused materials, reused designs, but tweaked them a little bit so that this feels bathroom, whereas when they're in the kitchen, they feel kitchen. I wanted to have a little bit of fun, so I rounded the edges of this backsplash. All of those little details make things feel more custom, make them feel less spec, less new build. We did a floor-to-ceiling shower curtain in here. I tried to do that everywhere. I don't use glass. Glass was out of budget for us, but when you do floor-to-ceiling shower curtain, it feels so beautiful, so luxe, and so custom. I wanted to keep the materials really simple in here. To go with the Carrara countertops, I did a honed Carrara penny tile. I love a penny tile. And then I did just the standard 3x6 Carrara honed subway tiles in a staggered horizontal lay, just like a brick lay. Had to have a wood element, so I put a little found vintage stool in here to set a towel on. And then all of the hardware is a very delicate antique brass. The towel holders, the hooks. I'm really proud of this bathroom. The guest bedroom is similar in size, slightly smaller than the primary bedroom, and has a slightly smaller but still very spacious closet. This room faces the porch, so it's a little less private, but it has such a lovely view. Again, I wanted to lessen the new build feel, so I added a very beautiful textured woven light fixture that I got from Round Top. My husband really wanted ceiling fans, but I was adamant that we do light fixtures to add that layer of custom and that layer of texture. The setup is pretty simple. It is just a bed, a side table, and a beautiful plug-in sconce that I also found from Round Top. The bed is a Hollywood frame with a mattress, and then I put an antique wood headboard in the back of it. Actually, I stole the headboard from our house in our guest bedroom, and I now have no headboard at our house. But it's what you gotta do when you're building a home. The way that the house is divided is you have a very simple hall that is off of the entryway, and on either side of it have the bedrooms, and straight down from it is the hall bath, which is the guest bath. So it's a very simple configuration. All of the private spaces are off to one side, the public spaces are on the other side. Even though I'm not a big fan of TVs in bedrooms, we positioned each space so that if the buyer wanted to, they could put TVs facing the beds. For the hall bath, I had a lot of fun. I got to incorporate a lot of antique pieces in here, which is my dream, even though it drives contractors, i.e. my husband, crazy. I found this amazing cast iron tub on Facebook Marketplace, but it is beautiful. We had to have it re-enameled, and then I had to work with some new plumbing fixtures to configure it to make sure that it was up to standards for nowadays showering. We did a curtain all the way around it, which I love. It feels so delicious. And for this vanity, I found an antique dresser and we converted it into a vanity. It's one of my favorite ways to incorporate wood and incorporate found items into a home so that it doesn't all feel new. So we had to retrofit the drawers to make sure the sink and the plumbing fit, and then we again used the same honed Carrera countertop. We were able to use one slab for everything, which was great. And I did that same backsplash detail with the rounded edges, and I put chrome plumbing in here. One, because I feel like that is a very good timeless finish, but two, because it's affordable, so win-win. I tried to reuse some of the plumbing fixtures that were on the tub, but they weren't good anymore. So I put together a set from a company that creates new plumbing fixtures, but they all look antique, and so it probably looks pretty close to how it would have looked originally. I picked a vintage mirror that I got for, gosh, like $15, and a little sconce that I feel feels very British, feels very antique as well. We did a chair rail in here just like we did in the primary bath, but instead of just the simple straight planks, we did a beaded chair rail with a trim piece on top. So a little bit softer look, and this one is only 42 inches high, not 60 inches. So again, tried to change it up, change the paint color, but a similar thought pattern throughout. We did a glossy white penny tile on the floor in here. Again, love a penny tile. It is affordable, it is classic, and it always does the trick in my opinion. Very universal. And then we did a custom shower curtain around the clawfoot tub. It goes all the way around it. I think it's beautiful. I tried to pick all warm white tones throughout this space so that again it felt like it had been here forever. It feels very inviting, very warm. Well, that's the tour. Hope y'all enjoyed it as much as I did. We are incredibly proud of this project. We stuck to a budget, we stuck to a timeline, and we got it sold. So stay tuned for more on this house, more on future projects, and more design tips on this channel. But make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment below and let me know what you want to learn. Thanks y'all, bye.